City of Pharr to order. Roll call.
George Gonzalez,
Here.
Oscar Villagomez,
Here.
Javier Martinez,
Present.
Eliseo Avendaño, Javier Garcia,
Here.
Jaime Villarreal,
Here.
Rudy Martinez,
Here.
Artemio Palacios,
Here.
Juan Willingham.
Here.
Avendaño call, Cheo?
I was just calling him, he didn't answer.
He didn't answer? Ooh. He didn't pay for his phone bill, again. Jaime, talk to, ¿va a venir Avendaño? No habla
Well,
to.
she said he was, pero pues,
Well, let's go to item 2, no, and then we'll go
Come
back,
back,
see if he
yeah.
shows up.
yeah.
Okay, administrative report. A, approval of minutes for January the 8th, 2019, regular call meeting.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second. So motion by Member Gonzalez, second by Willingham. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approved. B, consideration and action, if any, on revenue and expenditure report for the month of December 2018. Mike?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Howdy.
Revenue and expenditure report for the month of December. Revenue showing for the month of September, $75,584.17, with expenditures of $120,232.97. Special note on the revenue side, showing December of this year compared to December of last year. We're looking at basically a $7,000 net increase on revenue. On the expenditure side, we are roughly $40,000 above what we did in December of 2017. In case you're wondering why the big increase was due to basically two things, two areas. First one being $34,000 plus in personnel services, and then $5,000 more in the maintenance area, so on. So balancing those out, going down, we were pretty much close to being, expense-wise what we were in December of 2017. But those two items were the big jump.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, yeah.
So what you're saying, Mike, is the 34,000 in personnel is above and beyond a normal month?
From what I'm looking at, we can either look at it that way, George, or we can look at the fact that December of last year, December of 2017 was abnormally low. Because I'm showing December of 2017 at 54,700
Do we have,
for personnel services. So
I guess my question is 34,000 in a month, because you spent 17,000 for the kitchen on labor alone, but that's a typical month.
it's typical month.
You have 3 people working the whole month.
And there was only 2 pay periods in the month, not 3. The only thing that I could factor into, and that doesn't equate to that, is the bonuses that the city paid out. Could be factored into going to each department,
Bonus.
which was in addition to regular payroll costs.
So all our staff received the bonus and on top of their salary.
Correct.
This
Correct.
would be reflected.
I'm just looking at the salaries, so on, and I'm, looking at the salaries, and again, the past history, 54,000 in December 2017 is low. Again, we were not fully staffed. I staffed in December of last year.
So what I'm looking at here, Mr. Chairman and Mike, is I've looked at the last 4 years. And this year, we spent 294,000 in the 3-month snapshot that we have. So that's the highest expenditure over the last 4 years for that time frame. Because if you go back to last year, we spent 172,000. I mean, 240. And then the year before that, 290. And the year before, in 16 and 17, 250. I'm just concerned about going over 100,000 2 months in a row, Mike. And
Agreed.
I don't know if you've been asked that by City Hall or not, but is a 34,000 a sufficient explanation to them?
When I received the report, I did not ask that question of why the big variance. I can't find that out and have that available for you at the next meeting.
Let me ask you a question. Expenses that and a lot of times we look at revenue, we think, well, we made more than last month, but, if we're spending more, they're probably gonna look at our expense side more than our revenue. We wanna try and break even or so. But how many actual work days did we have in December? Like, that we didn't have to shut down?
Well, we can tell you we were affected by weather. We were affected by weather.
I saw your
in my
report where there was some
report.
fog days
Right.
in December, but I don't know if that affected your play. But did we shut down any day in December
No.
besides the holidays?
Oh, besides Christmas, yeah. And it's regular hours during it wasn't regular hours. We close early Christmas Eve and we close and we don't open on the 25th. And that's standard. We did that in 2017 also.
Like as I said, that's my concern. The pattern doesn't look good initially for those first 3 months, regardless of the revenue. Unless we break even, I guess nobody will question it. But
Correct.
my questioning is gonna be comparison to the last 3 years prior to this one, and what's gonna happen. Where do you anticipate us being in January, since we're already in the middle of February? Have you heard any initial
I have
figures?
not seen the expenses, and I have not seen the expenses for the month of January yet. I have not. I can say that personnel services are high, but the rest of the day-to-day operation of the golf course, having to do with maintenance, having to do with supplies, so on and so forth, gas and oil, are pretty much on par to what we did in December of 2017.
Okay.
We're spending money where we need to spend the money.
That's my next question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Are these things that you have control over? Does City Hall come to you and say, you know what, you're spending $50,000 more than you did at this time last year? Are they gonna come back to you and say, why is that? Are you within, if you divide the year by 12 months, are you within 8 or 9% and you're still keeping within that? Is there a capital outlay item that might have come out of here that's a one-time expense and maybe above and beyond personnel? Because I think personnel, unless you hired new employees in November or after October, that should be pretty even.
It should stay relatively
Even if they
flat.
got a bonus, which I doubt they all got $4,000 or $5,000 each, they probably,
It should be
Got it.
relatively flat. It should be a flat
Exactly.
line, correct.
that's just my concern.
Correct.
You know.
But going through the report, going through the expense report and everything else, and I thought about that, just like what you did. Is there something that stands out versus, that we didn't incur December of 2017 to, December of 2018? Was there anything that stood out? No, there was not, except that we spent $5,000 more on supplies than what we did in December. Other than that, it was the bulk of the increase was, again, personnel services. Everything was where it needed to be.
Yeah, it's a big jump. I just, is this something, like I said, that
Good.
you can control? If not, if it's something that, I want to make sure that if it's within your control, you're doing what you need to do, as far as making sure you stay on top of that. Because we're not the only ones that are going to ask this question,
No,
obviously.
agreed. As far as the personnel goes, we have to make sure that our full-time employees get 40 hours a week, so on. Part-time is where we have leeway. When the days are iffy, so on. We'll have one guy instead of two, so part-time guys' hours, we move around. Again, part-time guys' hours are 18 hours a week. And, and also thinking of that is December of last year too, all of our part-time staff, including the kitchen, was at minimum wage. Now they've got, I believe they're around $11. So, and that's been going on for a while, so we are gonna see that bump.
That was my question, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
The, going over into the food and beverage side of December, we had revenue of $4,457 with a cost of $484, showing a net profit of $3,972. Beer, I'm sorry, beer, not food, beer. Food revenue for the month of December was $6,597 with a cost of $2,402, showing a net profit of $4,195. When you factor in the payroll for the month of December, $6,302.02. So as a net result for the net result for the month is approximate total revenue of $304.85.
Is that a standard, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I think I've seen these, Mike, where one of these individuals only works part-time. And I don't know if that might have attributed to some of the jump.
Cooks 1 and 2 can be basically figured in as full-time,
Okay.
40 hours. Cooks 3 and 4 are part-time. And again, too, I'm going back, my memory serves me right, we were having, again, there's a difference in dollars, minimum wage versus what their current wage is, and also part of that in December, I do believe last year we were struggling with personnel in the grill area. So that would be attributable to the lower December fee, the lower December expense in personnel services as far as salaries go.
Any questions? The financial report, revenue and expenditure report.
Actually, I think I found one of the questions that I had, Mr. Chairman. It's on your lease purchase. That's 6781, Department 77, on your expenses for the month of December,
97.
under debt service. Is that,
Oh, yeah. I found it. Let's see, 7701.
Mhm. To answer your question on that, we did incur a debt service in December of last year of $4,100. So there's a $3,600 difference there in debt service too. That has to do with lease payments. And I do believe that was, December was of 2017 would also been when our first lease payment of the golf carts came in, because we got the golf carts back in November.
why would we have a bank service charge of $2,500 for 1 month?
I
And
d-
year-to-date of $5,400. What, can you explain that? It's,
I would have to check on that for you.
under, I guess, other services?
Other services,
Under
55,
55.
38.
And I see that, that's kind of a jump there.
bank services, I can look into that for you and let you know at the next meeting, but off the top of my head, those have to do when we, those are the service charges that the city gets charged for credit cards. And that's just, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but I can get you a firm answer on that for the next meeting. But I believe those are service charges that we incur through the bank for processing credit cards.
Yeah, because it seems like we're already we're at 24% of the total year's service charge, which means we're already gonna go in the red in a couple of months by looking at what your amount budgeted is of $23,200.
Yeah, we don't have, again, we do not have, the golf course does not have control over the bank service charge.
And then your audit already went over the red too. We were at 5,000 and we already spent $7,700 on that.
On an audit?
We're already at 167%. And the insurance, so there's line items here that I guess whoever puts these things together is, there's already flags that they're gonna come back to you at and say, why are you already over in the first quarter of the year? As I said earlier, are these things that you have control over?
No. The audit and the professional services and the bank service charges, no.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
There could have been, there could be in place too, and George, I'll find out the answers for those two questions. There may be a different way of, they could have installed a different way of paying for these. So, making note of the payment, this year compared to prior years, because sometimes, accounting practices, so on, and the timing of that, has a direct effect on, your income and expense report. Timing of when things come due.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Any other question? Question?
Mr. Chairman, do you wanna, is he done? Are you done?
As far as the financial, yes, sir.
Do you want a motion to accept Eliseo's absence, or
Yes,
what do you wanna do?
yes.
Fire him.
I move that we excuse Eliseo and Daniel.
Second, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
before we get it, no, I'm talking about revenue and expenditure report. Ahorita, we're on that, we'll go back to him at the end.
He says he's done.
Oh, todavía falta más, eh? No, we're talking, we're in B, we gotta go to C todavía. Todavía falta C.
Oh, you
Talking
wanna
about
wait, I
item
thought
B.
you wanna wait a little more, is what you're saying.
No, we'll do that at the end, before we
está bueno.
adjourn,
Está
we'll,
bueno, está bueno.
before we adjourn.
Okay,
lo
then I
ponemos
withdraw my
aquí.
motion. Vámonos.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the revenue and expenditure report for the month of December.
Aye.
Gonzalez, moved by Member Gonzalez, second by Sergeant Willingham.
Mr. Chairman, I have
Oh, any
Can you add to that motion that we need a report on the two items that they had, that we had asked about?
There were the two items that were expressed of, that you would like answered would be the difference in the audit and professional services, and also the bank service charges. And I'll have an answer for you on both those for the next board meeting.
there will be a motion
Yes,
to
sir.
accept
To include a follow-up report on that for next month.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
well, yeah,
I
on
didn't know
those
whether
two
to
charges.
amend that, George, to
Yes, sir.
amend that motion, pero,
I would amend it as Jaime dictated it, sir.
Okay.
And if it's all right with the board, I'll just have that follow-up
second.
included in my status report that will be going over next. Rather than having a line item, have that included in the status report.
All right.
de pendejo. De
Okay,
pendejo,
we
güey.
have amended motion and second. Is there any other discussion before? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You do have it where that might, you wrote it down, your note?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item C, status report and golf course operation for month of February 2019.
Okay, gentlemen, I would like to have it noted that the golf course superintendent, Eddie Lopez, is present in case you do have any questions you need to ask of him as I'm going through the golf course operations status report for the month of February. To touch upon a few items. Particularly the greens, we're using slow-release liquid nitrogen to help the growth on the patchy areas, and we're spiking areas to help promote growth. Again, don't like to make excuses, but we haven't had the best of growing conditions this time of year to help promote that growth, so we're artificially adding chemicals, so on and so forth, to help it. And once we do get hot enough, during the day and in the evening, we should notice definitely some growth happening and a better putting surface. Tees again, we're using the slow release liquid nitrogen to growth on the patchy areas. We've noticed some winter weeds coming up around the tee boxes, and those are being spot sprayed. So on to eliminate those. And for those of you that have been out there and playing, we've been something standard is that we started doing is using green sand to fill in the divots. Aesthetically, it's just better looking than regular sand, so on. So we're continuing to do that, especially on the par 3 tee boxes. Not too much happening with the fairways, except with the continued flushing out of heads and lines, so on. We still are battling those. I guess you can imagine that with well over 1,100 heads on the golf course, that's going to be a process for a while, especially when we've been having a problem with the pumps, which has been fixed. Just as a reminder, and we'll touch upon this, as the pump station went down for roughly 45 days. We were trying to water all 18 holes with one pump, one 75 horsepower pump. We had our second 75 horsepower pump fail back in November, and along with the pressure maintenance pump, which is commonly known as the jockey pump, that failed. So we had to pull those out, and during the time of the year and getting parts, turned out to be 45 plus days before we got everything in. We got everything in, I do believe, the third week of January. So we are up to having, knock on wood, we are up and having a normal, regular, efficient irrigation system again, along with the fertigation unit we have and the inline filtration system that's in place. Hopefully the worst is behind us, having to do with the irrigation. Some of the other notes I mentioned here is pump station is back to being fully operational. We continue to work on tree trimming. We are going to raise the height of the rough to 1 3/4 inches to give the fairway and rough more contour and definition. That's something that had been pointed out to us through a recent analysis, and we believe that warrants us taking a look into and trying to develop better contour and better definition. We are eliminating a row of pop-up sprinklers to the left side of number 5 in the rough. Those were add-ons from the original installation and do nothing except leak. I think those that you play know the ones that we are talking about. And for the month of December, we experienced 9 days below normal temperatures, along with 13 days with fog and or mist, which means a cloudy day with little or no sunlight, and hard to grow. Again, very hard to get things to grow when you're dealing with those type of conditions. On the brighter side of things, Hunter Irrigation has chosen us to test their new 800 series sprinkler heads. We will receive 8 of these heads, and then we'll be gonna position them around 2 greens to follow up on a analysis that was done for the golf course and to help experiment by putting full circle heads around the greens to try to eliminate the wet areas and low-lying areas. As well as you know that, we have 8 sprinkler heads around the green. We got 4 that go in, 4 that go out around the surrounds. What we're trying to do with those full circles is give the green more water at the same time, give the surrounds less water so that it does not accumulate in low-lying areas, so it's not all slushy and so on and so forth. So we hope that will help. Going into the clubhouse, attended the Winter Texan Expo on January 15th and 16th as a vendor along with the Greater Pharr Chamber of Commerce. The event was held at McAllen Convention Center and was attended by 9,700 Winter Texans. 9,700 for 2 days. A lot of people. Passed out promotional items and passed out the Winter Texan Appreciation Tournament flyers. That's going to be held on March the 4th. And also established some new contacts that have already shown interest in trying to play other golf courses than what they have played in the past, meaning Tierra del Sol, so on. The upcoming tournaments we've already had the Progresso ISD Boys and Girls Club. We have Valley View JV coming up on February 18th. And then we have their 2-day tournament with the Varsity Boys and Girls on the 22nd and 23rd. And of course, we have the Pharr Chamber Winter Texan Tournament on March the 4th. So another couple bright spots. Some bright spots is that we are now the new host of the Rio Grande Valley Senior Amateur Tournament. This is presented by Strike Gas Pipeline Construction Company and is being held here on the 23rd and 24th. The group that's putting it together, Golfers for a Cause, are putting this together with all net proceeds going towards the local chapter of the Disabled American Vets Association that to help the vets locally. All the money earned stays at the local level from them. Last page, going up. Another important fun thing that we have not had before is that we have been selected as the only site in the Rio Grande Valley to host a local junior qualifier for the 2020 National Chip and Putt competition. For those of you that are not familiar with the National Chip and Putt, this is put on by the PGA of America, USGA, and Augusta National, where they hold the Masters. Kids are in all put into different age groups, or they're in different age groups, and they all compete on the drive, chip, and putt, with the winners going to the sub-regionals in San Antonio. So that's something that we will be participating in, and we probably expect to have, being that we are the only one down here in the valley, stuff like that, I believe, I was told that we can probably expect close to 200 juniors out for that Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
How many on the amateur one? On the prior, on the other, did they give you a
That's a
number?
2-day, by ages, 100.
100?
100. That's what they've been, that's what we estimate. And that's a shotgun start at 8:30 in the morning.
Is that by age or?
That's by age.
Oh, that's not my.
Sorry, you cannot qualify.
It's not for the old guys, is it?
Yeah.
Oscar, I'm
Hey.
sorry.
For the old guy? Huh?
If you're alive, you can play.
I don't qualify.
You don't
You qualify,
with
sure
by
you
Yeah,
age.
do,
you don't
Oscar.
qualify.
You don't take home Indian.
Ah, bueno, ya. Déjalo.
Our new mobile app is progressing nicely. So on, then like I said, that is getting to where it needs, we're starting to use that more, and we are experiencing more downloads. One important detail that I can now take off the status report is our online tee times. That is now available. You can book online tee times through the website, and/or the app now. That is fully functional, and that was just put on, that was just put into effect the first week of February, so on. So we're up and running. It just gives the general public another avenue to book their tea times, and don't have, in addition to phoning in or coming in person. The driving range, with the lights on, has had minimal success, but talking to my peers, so on, they said to stay, they basically said to hold the course, it'll turn around, it'll progress, so on. We can't expect it to generate huge amounts of money the first year, so on. So we're gonna stay the course with it, staying open, this time of year till 7:30. 7:38, and then as the time changes, we'll adjust the hours. But, the lights are there, stay the course on that, and then hopefully that'll prove to be a better revenue source than what it
Maybe
is.
You should add $1 to the bucket and say, buy a bucket, get a beer, as long as you're legal.
As long as you're legal. I got that, it's already in the app, but it's more than one beer.
Mike, is those 2,900 on advertising because of the app?
The what? I'm sorry.
On our advertising, you have 2,982 that was spent. Was that because of the app?
That and the promotional items. Promotional items that we got, so on. So.
Because I
And
think
plus
still a lot of people
advertising
don't
that
know
we
about the
incurred.
lights and stuff.
Yeah. As far as the, the advertising, part of that is yes and no. The advertising that we're doing for the driving range is through Winter Texan, Welcome Home RGV, so on, through the Winter Texan newspapers, so on. So we're trying to get the word out this time of year to the Winter Texans. So yes, part of it is, and then part of it also is the, another portion of it is the marketing with the app, and then finally promotional items that we had for the giveaways to the trade shows and everything else we do.
Mike, because the advertising he was asking on, we're down, we use 57% of the budget,
Mm-hmm.
more than half.
I know.
One less item?
I'll wipe that, to be honest with you, Jim, and I'm gonna wipe that one out early. I will, only because it's been neglected for such a long period of time. I feel the advertising has and so on, so I want to go ahead and this not be short this year like I was last year. I wanna use the dollars.
Mr. Chairman, free advertising, do we still partner up with the school district, with PSJ? Do they still have a TV station?
I know we partner up with the city, the city comes out and does, the city comes out and will put us on, either social media pages and so on, but as far as the city goes, if they, ask for as far as commercials go for the golf course?
Well, no, actually, what I was thinking was, and I know we've talked about this before, about using the water bill. Since you have a captive audience, and we just got a water bill the other day, where it talked about, all the events that were coming up for the next 3 months, but I saw nothing about the golf course.
No.
And it's a flyer that they inserted to the bill, so obviously that,
When we did, I remember that, George, and then, I remember that, and then, I did call and they were booked up. They were booked up for that, for the period I wanted to get into, and then, be honest with you, I didn't come back and tell them.
to the chairman's point, since you're at 57% of your budget, obviously, in the summers when you need to use your advertising more, because right now I take it you have enough foot traffic that you don't need to be advertising people using the course as much, right?
No.
But in the summers when you need it more, I would think that we would
But our app will take care of that.
take advantage of that.
The app that we have and everything else
Yep,
is a different
yeah,
mode of
but-
advertising, so on, and that's already there. So, I do understand what you're saying, but I really think that the app is the wave of what most golf courses are going to as far as advertising. And I think that we'll be pleasantly surprised. We'll be pleasantly surprised with the features that the app has and getting it in the hands of people wanting to, and using it and seeing the offers and seeing how they're going to be, how we can develop a loyalty program through the app, so on and so forth. I mean, we give it a chance. I believe that's what will help us, not totally, but that'll for sure help us through the summer months.
Mike, do you have a statistic on that, on how many people have actually downloaded the app?
175.
175?
And they said they expect more now that we've gone live with our tee times.
Taken away from
So.
One last item, Mike, Mr. Chairman,
Monday.
he still has one last item on the
Yes.
report.
Danny did that.
Okay, one last item, gentlemen.
Hey, I have
Last
a
month,
question now. Mike,
La-
Mike, on the minimal use success on the nightlight for the driving range. Cause I drive by, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, Topgolf, man, that place is packed. So I feel, I don't know if that's part of this deal. They're staying because they go eat and, hit.
Sure, I
couple
mean,
of those-
Topgolf is still a novelty, and their atmosphere, I mean, everybody's been in there, I'm sure, stuff like that, and their atmosphere is really, their atmosphere is totally different than what going to a driving range is.
It's an entertainment venue.
There it
The
is.
driving range is a driving range. These people will sell you drinks.
Entertainment venue.
Yeah, it's an entertainment venue.
That thing while we're out,
expensive too.
everybody goes now. In a month from now, nobody wants to go there. It wears out.
People will go, talking about Topgolf, people will continue to go to Topgolf for like Jaime mentioned, the entertainment part of it and the fact that they've got really good food, good drinks. Yes, it's, can be considered, somewhat expensive, I guess.
It is.
But just as long as the menu is there and they put out quality things, people will go there.
Well, gentlemen, the sales tax went up by 44%
There you go.
from last December to this December, so whatever is around is helping us, and I think Topgolf has something to do with it.
Yes. That's just shows you that, and I'm not sure what Main Event did when they came in, but I'm not sure it's to
wasn't
this degree.
44%, trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Well, I've done my share for the year. One time is all I can take.
last
All I can afford.
Last item on the list is based off the last meeting, so on. I did a survey for surrounding area golf courses on the credit book usage on food and beverage. You have those 5 golf courses listed, or 4 golf courses listed, and how they treat their credit book, so on. And just from Sherry Golf Course to Los Lagos to Tony Butler to Palmview. And as you can see through the survey, the use of credit book monies are not a form of payment for any type of food service on as far as those other area golf courses are concerned.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I have a couple of questions. Can I ask?
Go ahead. The mic is there in front of you.
Oh, okay. No, the reason this is here is because the Winter Texans want to use their monies in the kitchen along with the pro shop. And I don't see, and you're not exchanging money. This is money that is theirs that you are saving in a credit book, but it's their money. I mean, if I have $50 there, it's my $50. You just happen to hold them for me. So that is money that can, if I wanted to spend $40, and I'm not talking about beer, I'm talking about food, $40 to treat these guys to lunch, I should be able to take my $40 out of my 50 and pay the kitchen, or you pay the kitchen.
Let me ask. Well, the thing is, and I believe this is probably why the markup on merchandise is probably 50 or 60%, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a taco and the labor is probably,
And-
did you ask the question?
Prof-
And
The
I
profit-
realize that. I
the
know
prof-
exactly why he's doing it,
that's
because
why.
of the markup.
The
Yeah.
profit margins.
I'm just,
Yeah, profit margin.
as a board member, I am relaying information from the members.
I guess my question, Jaime, to Mike is, why do they do it over there? Did you ask the question?
Why they
No,
don't,
they
why
don't
they
do it.
don't do it?
They don't do
No,
it.
why do they not do it? I'm sorry, why do they not do it?
It's not cost effective. Profit margins aren't enough. I got
That's
that
an
fi-
answer.
I
That's an
got-
answer.
I
All I
got
have to
that-
have
I
is
got
an
that
answer.
I got that from all of,
You got it.
I got an answer. All right, now there's a couple other things, and they have to do with the tee boxes. I've noticed in the last few days, well,
What do
the
you
tee
mean?
boxes.
no,
I've
no, no,
noticed
go
in the
ahead.
last few
You need me
days
to
that-
bring Eddie up.
That, no, Eddie, you're fine there. That, where you have your markers, they're dry, they haven't been moved in weeks, man, and I don't understand why they haven't been moved unless you're trying to grow grass, except for that one area. But in a lot of the tee boxes, that's what's happening. So, as a matter of fact, we moved some today only because we didn't want to hit out of the dirt. Go ahead.
You wanna come up here? and-
No, that's fine, right there.
They've been moved. The deal is the distance. Some of the where Texans can't hit as far. So we're trying to keep them as close as possible. And I see what you're saying now. We might move them a little bit further back.
Or forward. I mean,
Some of the tee boxes, especially the par threes, they are,
as far as you can go.
as far as we can go.
That's fine.
And we do have a lot of traffic.
I know, and that's why I'm saying maybe every 2 days you can move it a foot and a half. 2 feet.
Well, they come in at every direction. I don't really
Yeah.
see that, so.
Yeah. Well, just a little so that you can get some grass to grow.
I've been, on to piggyback on that, just so you all know, is that Eddie and I have been talking about the amount of times that we change cups during the week. This time of year, people that play, so on, the cups do not heal well this
Exactly this time of year.
so on.
That's-
So eventually you're gonna run out of room. And, and you're gonna have old cups all over the place, so on. So we are trying to minimize the amount of days that we do cut cups and we move them.
And I talked to Eddie about some of the cups and the locations. They were in locations where there was not any grass and you had the plugs, and so the ball was skipping. But they corrected that. I mean, there's green spots on the green, that could, and you don't have to move them. I don't know how often you move them, but as long as there's no the holes are not by plugs,
Right, correct.
And like the 17th green, I mean, I understand what's happening to that, but you can see the plugs, so we'll eventually get some. What I keep telling the Winter Texans is, you should be here during the spring. Our greens are great.
Jim, just so you know, and going off, to not get off the subject, rounds have not suffered because of the greens, just
No.
have you know. Rounds are not. October, November, December, compared to the October, November, December of 18 compared to 17, we're basically 200 rounds above what we were prior year. So it hasn't changed. So, I mean, it's gotten better.
Mike, can somebody water the greens with a hose? Yeah, that'd be the best way, because the sprinklers just fly everywhere. They just have somebody water with a hose.
We do that.
You do that? Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yeah.
Mike, on these TTS heads, you don't have them installed yet,
No.
and there's 8 to a green to get good coverage. There's 8
Currently, what we have is 8 to a green.
to a green, but you're gonna use 4 and 4 on 2 greens.
Correct. What we're gonna do there is, on the ones that are given to us, the 8, the trial ones,
just
we're
put on one
going
green?
to replace the half circle surrounds. Because we got 4 sprinklers that go in, that cover the green and overlap, and then we have 4 sprinklers that go out to do the surrounds that overlap. so on. So what we're going to do to help the greens get a little bit more water and to eliminate
Puddling.
to eliminate only the surrounds, we're gonna put in full circle sprinklers on 2 greens
Which 2 greens?
with the 4 surrounds, the ones that have the worst problem with water puddling. I believe that's holes 9 and 15.
Mike, are you done? Mr. Chairman, you know, we used to do that in my industry where we used to give away classroom sets of books so that we'd hook them, you know, and then they would use our product and buy our product. Why can't you get other companies to do the same thing that company is doing for the other greens and say, look, I'm doing this for this company. You guys want to be part of it? And maybe we can get them all done for free.
Good. We tried that.
Oh, you did? Good.
Tried that. They don't. They don't play ball like that.
They don't.
They can't make any money, so to speak. And well, plus the ones that we've had.
You're not paying for the ones
No,
that you're getting.
No. But it brings in. They're sending us samples, and again, Eddie knows more about it. But these are brand spanking new heads that they're coming out, and it's called beta testing.
Yeah.
So,
They call it whatever they want, and then they hook you to buy the
Yeah.
rest.
Well, yeah,
But
they're
if
hoping
they
you
work,
do.
it's okay,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, they're hoping. We do.
Mike,
And-
another
but
question.
the bad thing is that they're testing and so on, and if they don't work and they don't help out, then there's they really don't want. We talk to them privately if that's the case, and there's no harm, no foul. We just go back to what we were doing before. But hopefully, by making some type of change, we're going to be able to eliminate the water gathering and water puddling in the low spots.
Mr. Chairman, well, if they use you as a bed,
Yeah, I just got a quick question, Mike. On these sprinkler heads, are these 144 that you use on the green, 140 heads, do they also contribute, have the snail?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the fairway
Every-
heads and the green heads all messed up?
Rough, fairway, green surrounds, greens and the surrounds, tee boxes, yeah, all encompassing. So what we've done, to answer your question, again, what we've done is with this new fertigation unit, we are calibrating it with some liquid fertilizer now, and then that was the first run, okay? And now what we're gonna do is put some what they call molluscicide in there. So when I believe we talked about that when we talked about that prior to when the analysis company, when Foresight was here, they were mentioning what you do. Anyways, this molluscicide will help destroy the snails and the junk that's in the heads, and will help speed up the process. So eventually, we will get to a efficiently run system that doesn't have leaky heads and doesn't have heads that blow up and all that stuff, so on. So there's a process involved.
Mr. Chairman, on these beta, you mentioned that these things are gonna be beta tested, and it's a very small sample. Obviously, it's for their benefit and
Yeah, of
hopefully for
course.
our benefit, but have they told you anything to the effect of, one, how long this is gonna take as far as beta testing is concerned, and two, if we decide to buy the product from them, are they going, since they use this as a beta site, some sort of discount afterwards?
They should be here in the next couple of weeks, and as far as the discount, I'm not too sure. These are the brand new heads coming out on the industry. These are brand new, nobody has these on the market right
So nobody's beta tested them at all?
No.
Okay.
Especially with snails.
The head of Calling Country Club.
So that's a good, that's something that we're being.
And they're aware of that? The snails problem that we have, they're aware of that?
Oh, yeah.
Really good discount.
Mike,
Everybody's aware of that.
Mike, I don't know,
But we're hoping to get the
you
inline.
were in
filter.
Edinburgh, correct? You were in Lagos before or somewhere? What kind of heads are they using there or in McAllen Country Club? Because are we done with the same thing or?
At Monte Cristo, it was night watering. There was a gentleman. He manually watered at night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's old school.
So, but I seen
Iba y
my
prendía
club,
la manguera y la apagaba.
McAllen Country Club, I seen, man, beautiful sprinklers going on y todo.
That's what we are again, that's what we aspire to get to.
To get to.
Because keep in mind, the sprinkler system, again, been neglected for a period of time. No inline filter, so on. When you don't have an inline filter, junk accumulates, you get snails and everything else. And all that is a process now, and that's happened for years, I mean, so on. And now that our filtration system is in place, we're eliminating it, or we have eliminated it, but we still have all that junk in
Getting
place in the heads that are still causing us problems. And when they're in the pipes and then they get to the heads, and you can see what happens when they get to the heads, the amount, I mean, we're gonna be dealing with that for a while. And the mollusca side, which is environmentally safe, by the way, so on, that will help speed up the process. But again, it has to be calibrated.
Can I have a follow-up question to the discount question that I asked you? Are we prepared? I mean, that system is at least 10 years old. I remember, you know, that they did it from scratch back then, the sprinkler system. But are we prepared, one, to replace them all? Because a stopgap measure is a lot of times more expensive in the long term. Is this something that we've done the research to say, well, it's gonna cost us $200,000 to replace or whatever? Is this something the city knows?
What we did last year, or not, what was in the process when I came in, was a revamp of all the sprinkler heads.
Right.
I think that was in the budget. However, I mean, quite honestly, I mean, you can revamp all the sprinkler heads you want, but if you don't have an inline filtration system and you don't have a decent pump, you're gonna have an experience down the road. We're gonna experience what we're experiencing now. So, why not stop the problem, and then we can look at the sprinkler head issue down the road? Because the most important parts of an irrigation or the golf course are the pump system. We don't have a pump, we can't get the water out there, and we can't grow the grass. So we need to get the main parts in place first, and then we can worry about the heads and get some direction. Now, are the heads totally shot? No, they're not totally shot. But again, as a stopgap measure like you're talking about, so on, do we know exactly how many? No, 1,100 heads.
Maybe you can
No.
get somebody to beta test a pump with us.
Pumps are good now, thank God. Pumps are good, so on. So that's the irrigation. That's kind of this, the scenario and everything else with the as far as the irrigation and the pump station goes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Jaime, any other
Is
questions?
that it?
Thank you.
Todos?
No, thank you.
That's it? Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, Jaime. I'm gonna leave
Are
it-
you going to, are we going, do you need a motion for Liceo?
Yes, of course,
Let's do it.
because I'm waiting for you. I just,
Okay. I move that we excuse Eliseo and Daniel.
motion for to excuse.
Second.
Serve and Daniel.
Second.
You have a motion by Villarreal and second by Gonzalez. No other discussions? None? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. You
You need a motion to adjourn.
I have just read. I need a motion to adjourn. You're right. Gee. Huh? We have a motion to adjourn.
Tú dile, motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Member Martinez moves and Sarah Willingham seconds.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ay,
Okay.
ay, ay.